Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It's Thursday, as you can, well, or you may have just caught. It's a little bit late, 8:26, so about an hour more than usual than when I start. I had dinner plans with a friend, and then we went grocery shopping together afterwards, just because I needed to get some snacks, some water, some cereal, some milk, the daily essentials. And that took a little bit, and then it took a little bit extra longer because I was carrying a 24 pack of water bottles in one arm and the like a paper bag with stuff in the other one, and the plastic on the water bottles ripped and then proceeded to spill out a bunch of water bottles across the sidewalk. And there was this lady walking by, and she did not help, not even a little bit. Didn't even offer to hold the door open because she was going to the same apartment building as me. Nothing. Like, we were right near the door when it happened, and she just kept going. It's like, oh, okay. It's okay, thanks, neighbor. So, thankfully, also, there was a grandma and her daughter in the lobby who were just looking out the entire time through the glass doors, seeing me struggle with this stuff to put down stuff onto the ground and then pack the water bottles into my other bag and pick it up and then fumble with my keys around while trying to balance these things and just sitting there watching. The only person who was any help at all was an old dude with a cane who pushed the button in the elevator for me for my floor. That's it. That was the most helpful person out of 4 people that were witness to this incident. Anyway, now that I've ranted a bit, let's get back to the Turnabout Serenade. So last time Lamiroar was attacked with a shoe or something. She got hit on the head, and we talked to Machi and found out that he may or may not be smuggling cocoons from Virginia to cure incuritis. And yeah, we're about to go into the trial, I think. So let's get to it, because I'm looking forward to this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing, because it is a little bit late. So I hope that this doesn't take too long, but we'll see. Oh, of course. Right, anyway. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting's over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry. No go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Daryan, wait. I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? Darn it. We were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Paula. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Huh? What was that? He is heard, but unseen. Who's that talking? Valiant Grammary, I exclaimed as he walked in through the door, normally. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valiant? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand to stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. Glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell! There he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. Can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things, like people or elephants. before the Eiffel Tower. Anything, really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lamiroar's disappearing there. And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:38 am. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Huh? Did something happen? This is the first.
It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business.
I bet he stayed up too late last night watching court.
Apparently he's visiting the hospital again.
The hospital?
I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning.
The Chief Justice's son. That's right. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial.
There's an article about it in the newspaper.
If you can't read about it yourself. Oh, I see the incuritis in there. Incuritis? Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV Guide page to me. I have to lose the page of the funnies if you can. Sorry, it's a bit silly. Though I wonder how this is all going to connect. I mean, like, obviously there's a connection there, right? But still.
Apologies. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of... how do you say this name again?
Machi Tobey, all suspect fortissimo. Sorry, that's the one. Okay.
Right. It's his trial in any case.
The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor?
No. Well, yes. It's just... I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time.
Incuritis, was it? That article said there's no known cure. Did it? Oh. Yeah, it does. Right there in that blurred text. First case in the country. Herr Judge, let me say, with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law.
Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday.
I asked Interpol about that number. IPXX314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche.
Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help.
No problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait, that voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it.
It was him.
That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouche. When I heard the gunshots fired, it was him. It was Mr. Daryan.
No way.
Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Daryan would guest star on the season cliffhanger as a suspect?
I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please, to the court your findings.
Daryan Crescent is a member of my band, the Governors. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, head for head? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Governors ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lamiroar, and Machi, along with the drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the 3rd set. Lamiroar and the defendant, Machi Tobey, had left the stage at that point, and the Governors were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Sky, mind you. And Apollo. You heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lamiroar herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime. Then she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking.
But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was.
Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila. A perfect alibi.
Does the defense have anything to add to this?
Yeah, it was dark on the stage, and also he missed his cue. It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up.
It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Daryan Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged.
Which means that Lamiroar was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true.
Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections.
Oh, Apollo, if he declares a verdict now... But Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Or might have been lying about Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? What about yesterday at the detention center? What about the case? Well, she tells about Mr. Latu's death. This meeting's over. Are you? Machi was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him, under oath.
Very well. The court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Your Honor!
No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquise or Mr. Justice.
Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who until now has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tobei to the stand.
What? But he doesn't speak English.
We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? Afraid you had to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases such as I love you and where's the toilet. The defense would like to request Lamiroar as the interpreter.
Lamiroar? There's a possibility she's protecting the defendant.
But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie?
Oh, this is most unusual.
Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamiroar lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that.
Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal.
Finally, some progress.
Bailiff, be sure the defendant and Lamiroar to the stand.
I suppose there's a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lamiroar. Yes. He says Machi Tobei, the defendant.
This is certainly a first for this courtroom. But they really needed an interpretation of that message in particular.
So far, so good.
Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would.
Huh? If I would what, Your Honor?
Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about?
What do I want him to testify about? His secret recipe for barbecue chicken? Oh, I haven't thought that far yet. Apollo? Are you going to ask him about what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me, a moment, if I might speak.
Yes, Lamiroar.
Just now, Machi said there's something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something? What could it be?
What sort of testimony is he talking about?
One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. What? What? What?
Well, Lamiroar.
According to Machi, he has proof of his innocence.
What?
This is surprising. Victory, Apollo, he did it! This is something too good to believe. I know that usually means.
Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Lamiroar, Machi, please testify to the court.
Very well. This will be interesting. He says that word of Mr. Latu's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, that is, he could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English. He does not understand them.
I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics of the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely.
I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamiroar to know the meaning of that song. Lamiroar, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. As my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead, Lamiroar might be protecting the witness.
Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would.
Yes, Your Honor. It's hidden in that testimony, I know it. Just have to trust my bracelet shall wear. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. This is going to be interesting, because I wonder who we have to perceive. Alright, well, let's press on everything first. Were Machi and Mr. Latouche close? Yes. After we traveled around the world on
Objection!
Lamiroar, this is Machi's cross-examination, not yours. But I need the answer. This is a court of law. We'll play by the book. I understand. When Prosecutor Gavin's tough, he's really tough. Machi says he was very good friends with Mr. Latouche. Mr. Latouche was always a gentleman, never angry. We got along quite well. Never dreamed something like this would happen.
Hold it!
The guitar is Serenade, correct? Yes. The crime followed the lyrics of the song. The theft of the keyring, the burning guitar, and the bullet. This is why it could not have been me. That is, he could not have done it.
Hold it!
By could not have done it, you mean? It is very simple. Machi could not have done all the things that happened that day. For all those things followed the song lyrics closely. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? He did know what the song was about. Its mood, shall we say. This was enough to play by. I told him it was a song about a guitar in love. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. Oh, perhaps I misunderstood. No, not really. Yours is also a valid interpretation. Okay. No, it's my fault. I am too used to singing in Virginian. It is much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy. What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. So nothing new from pressing at all, which isn't that surprising. I wonder which one was a great shot. Okay, so like I'm looking at Lamiroar right now to see if there's anything like useful at all. This is the only time she puts herself down like that. I guess let's proceed because Machi doesn't change at all the whole time. I mean, that's nothing there. What else can I look at? Okay, so we can also. I don't think it's this one. I don't see her like swallowing like she did before when she lied previously. So let's go to the next one. I would assume. Oh, okay. This one. The Also, like, he's just staring, isn't he? I mean, we don't have a ton to go off of. Like, it's eyes and mouth, right, for him. And none of them change. So, is Lamiroar doing anything to change about this? Not really. Okay. Could not have done it. I mean, I doubt it. Also, we should maybe look at his eyebrows? I'm trying to think of, like, how he might express himself, you know? Yeah, he doesn't... He really doesn't react to anything. Can we see this again? Hold on. Was she smiling? No. I don't think that's anything. Because the lyrics in English, he doesn't. This is probably where it's wrong, right? Like, he probably does speak English. Oh, wait, that was it. He looked over at her. Because the lyrics are in English.
Gotcha!
Machi, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lamiroar said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Oh, of course he can't. Must continue the charade. Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word, English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speak English. He learned the name for this language. That is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They've already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. You just have to show them proof that he's lying. I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper.
What does this mean?
I don't see how it's possible. Huh, I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes.
Well, possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself.
So, the lyrics weren't in the newspaper, and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. Or from Daryan. In English, no less.
The witness will explain himself.
Machi says... He says...
Yes?
It is true I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What?
This is true, Lamiroar.
Yes. I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Then it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to the conclusions again.
It seems so, yes.
No. No. I was onto something. I know it. Can't let this chance slip away.
Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination?
No. Are you gonna do, Apollo? If I'm gonna keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue.
If you must, you must. Very well. Witness?
I understand. It was I who explained the crime of the forward song. Exactly how much did you explain to Machi? This is a question for me, yeah? This interpretation makes me old fast. I told him that Mr. Latouche had been killed, and why he was a suspect. And I told him the crimes of the day followed my song. Did you mention any particular words of the song related to the case? Such as heart? Yes, of course I explained this. He was quite surprised. Yay, I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy, I do. What's wrong, Apollo? Can I come here? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. Sorry, that was a repeat. So, I mean, we probably have to proceed the last bit that's added in, right? This is probably a perception on Lamiroar, I would bet. Because she's probably lying about this to protect him. All this, hold on, wait. Her mouth... Hold on. Is her mouth not moving? Yep.
Gotcha!
There it is. Lamiroar. I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes. You swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there's little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lamiroar, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lamiroar, you're protecting... Oh god, I did get to save. Latouche? I mean, like, obviously it's Machi, right? Would it protect Daryan? Right, it's gotta... Oh wait, if it wasn't... Hold on, wait, back up. So we're talking about who explained it to him. So she's either protecting Emma or Daryan, right? Because they're the only two people who would have talked. I mean, I doubt Gavin did it. Do you think it's Daryan? No, right? It couldn't be. Because, like... No, it's got to be the obvious, right? She's protecting Machi. Like, it doesn't make sense otherwise. Lamiroar, you're protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it. Really, I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lamiroar lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your 2 lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Ugh. I don't know what voice this little kid's gonna have.
Witness, is this true? Do you understand English?
Yeah, yes. A little.
What?
Fast he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamiroar. No. I did not. It is quite a surprise.
How many secrets is this witness hiding?
Lass, this is asked. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, on floor, which would be after the shooting, right? Then there's voice. Voice? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latus had already been shot. And then we came to the door. And high up. I take off. Run away. Run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No. He clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter.
Does the defendant have anything to say to this?
He clammed up, Apollo.
Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness?
Is that it? Is there nothing else I can testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon? The silk is a potent cure. A cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Hair Forehead. Hey, you're the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse.
It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed.
Follow Eustace. That's justice. I don't know how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe. I know shooting. Machi claims Miss Latus was already down on the ground when he entered the room. It's a trap. And he walked right into it. Suddenly, I hear a revolver. Close, very close. Then I hear a voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear a revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latus already dead, and then you heard shots? If that's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime and you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I open the vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area? Is that what he means? He's right. Look, Apollo. Oh, sorry. Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh. Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, His father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from magician. Magician? Don't look at me. Magician. Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latus. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body, and then he heard the shots? That was gonna go over well. What? Apollo? You're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard. Every time. So what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? Hey, no talking. No. Well, it's worth a shot. That guy. I can't go home. Can't go home. I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. Of course he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? We're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Someone else? Well, the magician is on an express train, so that's not going to work. I suppose Lamiroar is part of the trick and would know how it's done too? Except she's blind. So that kind of causes an issue there, huh?
Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk.
Very well. So, will he testify?
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
What?
Shame. And I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor.
A different angle?
If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I'd like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lamiroar.
Lamiroar.
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lamiroar's testimony was unsubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lamiroar was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries.
What happened?
She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Assaulted?
Someone wanted Lamiroar dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself.
What?
I've had no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lamiroar? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she's known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English. Yes. Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been?
You don't think?
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latus. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lamiroar's testimony? A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly.
If Lamiroar was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we do not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lamiroar's testimony once more.
Lamiroar, I must apologize. I must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent. I'll do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots, and the shooter's voice through the window. And that the voice belonged to Daryan Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed. That's found to be quite soundproof.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice.
I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. As it seems much you don't know.
And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court.
Of course, Your Honor. I was was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gun stop. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past it. Excuse me, sorry. So I kept moving past the small window. Okay, the smell of gunpowder is new, I think.
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I'm not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet, everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamiroar was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy? Apollo. You know, for a moment there, you're pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness.
I'm trying to remember. I think I knew a guy whose last name was actually Justice. I'm pretty sure. He doesn't work at the company anyway, but...
Hold it!
Is something wrong? I know I said hold it. But she's saying the same thing she said before.
Mr. Justice.
Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue your testimony.
Now, don't they mean about the reckless youth these days?
The one in red over there is a shining example here, Judge. The last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar.
Hold it!
Daryan Crescent? I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have had him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Oops. Apollo, you keep asking the same questions yesterday, you won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Did you hear anything else? No need. I guess we'll... Lamiroar, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I've given it much reflection, but I'm afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Daryan Crescent.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch. Now.
Switch. And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche.
I thought it quite strange myself afterwards.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean?
It means they're lighting the guitar on fire.
Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this?
I mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony? Maybe, Apollo? Press the switch now. I wonder if we can present the switch. Or the burnt guitar. So, there's a remote trigger, right? And they work within 30 feet. And we had a note before, I guess we can't see it anymore. But there was an igniter in Gavin's guitar, but didn't we find another one in a dressing room as well? What if he's not... No, he was shot, right? I'm just thinking, like, what if he was burned instead or something, you know, like the other igniter went off on him? And that's why, like, that shoulder bit is so dark. But then, like, blood is dark, and if it was seeping into a black suit, then it would look that bad, I guess. Press the switch now. I think someone gunshot and stop that for another gunshot. There's the smell of gunpowder. I wonder if it was something else. Also, we could ask her why she was in a hurry, too, I think. Okay. See, I want to press on everything.
Hold it!
But I do want to present on that, I think. And it was Detective Daryan Crescent's voice. Yes, I'm sure of it.
It's over. Press the switch. Already say that to Mr. Lutus.
Paula, the murder weapon, the revolver was Mr. Lutus's, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger. Because his English isn't so good. Daryan Crescent is a native speaker. Oh, right. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what. Press the switch. That's something a killer usually says to their victim, isn't it?
Was there no one else in the room?
I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Lutus and the detective. The faint sound of a gunshot.
Hold it!
That's a weird way to describe a gunshot. There were 2 gunshots. Yes, I heard 2. One after the other. That fits with the bullet hole at the scene. Nothing really new here to pick up.
Hold it!
Why didn't you tell someone immediately? Well,
If it were me, I would have gone to the police right away. It's our duty as citizens.
This may be besides the point, but Lamiroar isn't a citizen. Though one would hope such common sense prevails in Bohemia as well. Lamiroar seems awfully quiet all of a sudden. That's strange. Could you be hiding something? As you say, yet at the time, I was in a hurry. So I could moving past the small window. You were in a hurry? To go where? I was on my way to the backstage exit, as I had said. Huh. Trying to think which way she would have gone. Because like there's the whole tower thing, right? To show up at that other tower. Why were you in such a hurry then? Well, I don't think that has anything to do with this case. It very well might. Please answer the question. Are you all right, Lamiroar? Yes, I'm just tired. Recall what I told you yesterday, Herr Forehead. Lamiroar suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further. What, so you just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing? Why don't you prove her reason had a connection to the case before asking about it, yeah?
The prosecution's objection. The prosecution's objection is sustained. The current question is moot. Mr. Justice, please continue in your cross-examination.
Lamiroar was attacked because of this testimony. Oh, she was. So something's got to be hidden here. Maybe there's some detail in the scene? Should get her back to fill in the blanks. Right. Okay. So, gonna save here. And then press the switch now.
Objection!
I would assume it's this, right? Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh, yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch. Save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens I have a switch right here.
That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it?
The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
The stage.
Where the concert was held. Yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage.
Are you claiming that the voice Lamiroar heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch?
It's a possibility.
Objection!
Oh, Herr Forehead. I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert hall. The stage is quite far from Lamiroar's dressing room. Not to mention that the governors were in the middle of a concert on said stage. If you aren't known for being a quiet fan, you could shout all you wanted and not be heard. Detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout.
So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard.
Sorry.
But he wouldn't need to shout, because he has the headset, right?
Excuse me?
You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh, wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on the stage from the dressing room.
Take that!
Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this?
Why, that's...
What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking?
This is a type of transmitter. A communications device.
Communications? Device?
From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin?
Yes, actually.
Therefore talking between band members. We all had one on.
So you admit that if you were wearing one of these,
Talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True. But wait, those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lamiroar was about 30 feet, right?
look at this cross-section diagram of the concert form.
Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. Can't be.
So, when Lamiroar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
You're claiming this is the switch in question. Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hit it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do you know where it was when she heard the voice? Because it had to be close enough to light it on fire. When the shooters had pressed the switch. Well, I guess we don't.
Unfortunate situation. Afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it.
But no, I know. I understand. Look at it. They were on the tower that goes up, right? Which means that it was higher by a certain amount of feet, which means it had to be pressed from the piano. Right? Ugh. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know we don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah. Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened.
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice.
Been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is.
Well, seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is?
This.
Take that!
And the guitar. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this. That's,
That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones?
This is an igniter.
Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter?
Yes, actually. You are saying this switch is a remote? I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you.
Oh, no. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom.
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected.
If my whiskers had caught on fire.
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Huh. Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance.
Wasn't that part of the stage show, though?
Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right. He got it in Virginia from Lamiroar. He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Yeah, it just kind of smells. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Yeah, forehead? Yes. Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice, heard by Lamiroar, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed, and the guitar caught fire.
Well, that does seem to make sense. There was something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Really? Seems pretty simple to me.
Attention!
Hair forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong.
What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin?
His simple story simply makes no sense. Think. That night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right, of course. The guitar caught fire during Lamiroar's song. Indeed. Yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated.
Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty.
See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that?
What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice?
Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far.
What premise is this? Specifically? Save your game.
Glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. That's it. But Detective Emma Sky heard Schwartzen found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time.
There you going. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice?
Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote trigger ignited where inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What?
Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence.
What does, Your Honor?
This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes?
Hey, he's right. Look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through. With little merit for the person doing it.
Well, sure whoever it was had some reason.
Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics.
You're
saying the order was reversed on purpose.
Reverse, Prosecutor Gavin.
If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Herr Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. I'm going to put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd follow the lyrics the whole way.
Order! Order! That would explain this most unusual situation.
It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. I was hoping it would have come to this, but sadly it has. Shut up, Windows. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good. I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bolded following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic. Well, it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes. A contradiction here, forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamiroar have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. This testimony is my entire case. But no, she has a headset, though. That voice she heard. Or either that, or the window is the wrong premise. And she was actually using the duct to do the magic trick, and she heard it from above, from the vent. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And the crime scene, we have a switch. Jackson's remote trigger for ignited. Last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's playing guitar. It can't all be coincidence. But how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Can you tell us how Lamiroar heard the voice?
A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court?
Yeah, the headset again, right? Okay, Justice. One thing to prove it, one thing more. Lamiroar heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. How is Lamiroar able to hear the voice? The window was open, she has divine hearing, she was somewhere. Ah, yeah, it's this. It's gotta be this, right? When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it. Had it been open either. Sorry. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Huh, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. Racist. As I was saying, Lamiroar could not hear the voice through that window. So there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely.
Oh, what's this?
Well, you do amuse me so. And I thought you were in good sense were back on speaking terms. Now, I'm afraid you and good sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I insert it for you, Herr Forfeit? Lamiroar clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. And there was only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? Holy shit. There is?
Ah, I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lamiroar heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was.
The music's pretty good right now. Lamiroar heard the voice from here. Wait. This is where Lamiroar heard the voice from.
But that's no small window. That's the air vent.
What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. You've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lamiroar was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Herr Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? It hardly merits saying. Why would Lamiroar be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lamiroar? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes. The small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear the prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Ugh. The problem here is words. Lamiroar, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What?
Order! Order! I will have order.
Well, why are the lights going on?
Witness, you will clarify the statement at the court.
Why did the lights just go out?
Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime?
Yes, in fact I was. I'm sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there?
I believe it's time for another testimony.
I'm not sure I can't.
May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. That's why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please.
No, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I'd heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I'd heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter.
Bound to secrecy.
In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold.
But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set.
I did not witness the crime. You must understand. I only know what I heard.
Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail.
That's what the cross-examination is for. Yeah, Herr Forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission.
Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
What are you going to do, Apollo? Gonna find out the truth. She was above that ceiling for a reason. Just had to get it out of her. Is it that hard to piece together? Come on, lads. It's part of the magic trick, dumbass.
Hold it!
Above the ceiling. Can you be more specific? I cannot. Because you're bound to secrecy. Yes. To tell the truth, I was not supposed to even say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more. Doesn't sound like we would coax it out of her just by asking.
Hold it!
I know what you heard. By small window, you mean the air vent. I only remembered I need to be careful of where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course.
The air vent grates could trip you up, certainly.
So, I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That is when I heard his voice come from the room. Daryan's voice. I knew something terrible had happened, yet it was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. So, without a word, you just let the third set start? After the curtain closed for the second set, there was so much to do. You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you'd only told us sooner. Yes, perhaps I could have. I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. The mind works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing, completely unaware. Singing in front of the only all contradictions are so obvious. If only I could get Lamiroar to talk. Pressuring her like this isn't getting me anywhere. I'm a little bit worried about this actually. You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure? Yes. Why would I lie about that at the time?
Why didn't you tell us this yesterday?
No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Machi was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I'm sorry. I was not able to speak to it. Unable. She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do? We just need to prove it ourselves. As long as she's bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. But if I could prove why she was up there, she'll have to admit it. But how are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. She could have been above the ceiling, too. Yes, she could. Got a theory as to why, too. Maybe we've got the evidence to prove it.
Hold it!
Exactly who bound you to secrecy? I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps that is all right. It is just a name after all. It was a Valiant Gramarye. Perhaps you know him? Valiant Gramarye? What? You mean Uncle Valiant?
What? Valiant Gramarye? Who was Valiant Gramarye?
A grand magician. The one responsible for the illusion performed during a concert. Interesting reaction, prosecutor Gavin. Lamiroar was bound to secrecy. It takes some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? Alright, so I assume it's this one that we had to present on. To like show her, it was like, yes, you were there because of this. And my other assumption would be that we should use the videotape.
Objection!
Lamiroar, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes. It's all right here on this video. So she disappears down into the trick tower bit. And then she has to keep singing, I guess. And run along the thing moves it. And then the fire. She appears there because she came up through the tower thing. And because she's blind, she doesn't even realize that's what she did. As we can see, Lamiroar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lamiroar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view, and during that time she moved to the back of the form. Apollo? What, Tracy? It's not nice to reveal magician's secrets. It's against the rules. I'm a lawyer, not supposed to be nice.
This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin?
This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed.
Aha!
He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage, through the backstage, to the rear of the floor. Recall Lamiroar's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's why I saw it.
She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling.
Lamiroar knew this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. But just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I open the event, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that. Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course, yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know? Which is why he bound Lamiroar to secrecy. Well, Lamiroar? I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you.
So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that, but I'm still a little confused.
Why is that, Your Honor?
As I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the Shush's voice.
That's a good question.
Can the witness explain this to the court? Very well, Mr. Justice.
Yes?
It's all up to you. Do your thing.
What thing, Your Honor?
You need to explain how Lamiroar was able to teleport like she did.
I love how the judge trusts us to do this.
Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater.
Lord, who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail.
You just had to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it'll be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Yes, if you would, please. Imagine saying that you're going to wring something out of someone and they say, yes, please. That's an interesting situation, isn't it? Right. Like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. Thanks. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There's an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the form on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way, but I heard the voice. 2 minutes? Yeah, what?
2 minutes. The mystery deepens.
I suppose it was too much so the judge would commit or something.
As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice.
Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamiroar was saying and what we can see plainly in the video. Is it like a body double or something? I figured it out already. I am a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. You're supposed to be on my side here.
Hold it!
Okay. How did you proceed along this route? How? Why, I walked. But you arrived behind the forum much too fast to be walking. Tell the truth, Lamiroar. You rode some kind of vehicle.
What? A vehicle? What vehicle?
What an awful idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. Yeah, laugh at the dumb attorney. I'm sorry, but the girl is right. That vent was much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. It wasn't a vehicle, was it?
You had me going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part?
I feel like I want some kind of a quiz show.
Hold it!
Stagehand waited. Did everyone on the concert staff know about the trick? Not all. Only a few that were needed to help. See, like I said, it's on a need-to-know basis. So not many people knew about the trick.
What were these stagehands required to do?
One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked. But once through there...
Hold it!
So when you came back out, you were behind the audience. Yes, that is how it worked. Not a bad show if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Valent for you. Your grammar touch.
But on the video, you only gone for 20 seconds. How is that possible?
That's the part I don't get either. Yes, it would be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds.
Hold it!
2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you're running. Running? In that cramped dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. That's true, but...
You were saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. One word disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? You want my professional opinion? How about the answer's right there in that video?
Well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you have some evidence for us. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony.
Evidence explaining the discrepancy? Dude, I don't know. I mean, there's this weird shit going on with the mixing board. But that doesn't make any sense. Wait, I wonder, when does she do it? Like, is it at this point? Is that no longer Lamiroar? Is it possible to tell? Blue eyes. She has the brooch. Curious if he has the brooch still. She doesn't. Rotate the camera, dude. She has no brooch. But here, she does. It's a different outfit. Okay. I mean, the evidence is the tape, but also the brooch. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between the video and the testimony.
Take that!
Lamiroar, do you happen to remember this brooch?
Aha! The brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not?
It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I. But we hadn't. Take another look at the video. Oh, she dropped it through the vent. Here, you can see she's wearing the brooch.
So she is.
Let's look a little bit later.
What? The brooch! It's gone!
What? Yes. The brooch disappeared in a short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lamiroar we see before the Vanishing Act, and the Lamiroar we see after, are two different people.
What? What?
The brooch was found on the floor of the crime scene, and not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lamiroar, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did.
What Prosecutor Gavin?
From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong. I wasn't hiding it, just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage tower rose, Lamiroar was replaced.
While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement Lamiroar?
The man behind the illusion. Valent Grammarly. It was Grammarly? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this fake Lamiroar is still singing. And she's pretty good.
That's true.
Come on, Apollo. That's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gavin is on some kind of air guitar band, Fräulein. Well, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live. No recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lamiroar. Very well.
Yes, do tell. And add it to your testimony.
I had to keep singing, even while I moved.
Hold it!
You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling towards the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness?
But if you were singing while you were walking?
That's right. Wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Ayusha have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Oh, I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? That speaker was blamed at the time of the murder. Huh, that's for monitoring the stage in this room. Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Useful for knowing when your set's going up. Set aside. The dressing room was fitted with a loudspeaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So Lamiroar singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lamiroar singing over the speakers.
Ingenious. Her voice was hidden by her voice.
Huh. Lamiroar. I have just remembered something.
Do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What?
Like what?
Forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse. So not many would notice.
Forehead? That mixing board I lent you. Where is it?
The huh? That machine, Apollo. The one that breaks music into tracks.
Oh, this. Completely forgot about it.
Let's take a listen. So it's the second part, right? The song does stop there.
It does. I must have missed it.
Look at the lyrics sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. So it stops while it's raising up. Between keys and pleasure or a different spot? Oh, she only says pleasure once.
This is evidence indeed. I believe you are guilty of making a terrible mistake.
Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lamiroar's ballad.
If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter.
Which means that Daryan Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains.
What's that, Prosecutor Gavin?
Herr Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. It is entirely based upon Lamiroar's testimony.
Yes. Is there a problem with this?
Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What issue is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is yet unclear, until we hear directly from the man himself.
You don't mean?
Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Daryan Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way.
As someone with a new perspective on the case.
As a suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. I'm ready to catch him. Daryan Crescent, get ready for justice.
This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin.
I'm the last man who needs to be reminded what his duties are.
Very well. Court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess.
Duties. To be continued. Alright. Wow, that actually works out pretty well. I'm sure that the next piece of the trial is probably going to be relatively short, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm sorry. I know you probably all want to see the end of it, and I do too. But we did start an hour late today, and I would like to have some relaxation time. So I'm going to go ahead and cease for now. Tomorrow is Friday, though, and so tomorrow there will be a stream. I don't want to make any promises. It's tempting to say that we could finish this off tomorrow, but I also really want to program tomorrow. We could do both, I suppose. I'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow, I guess, and we will figure out what we should do. So, because I want to keep working on the match 3 game, and really the stream times on Friday and like the random streams on the weekend are the only times that I really have for it, because I'm busy like all of the rest of the week. So it's one of those things I'm trying to do. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the stream tonight. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I apologize for that. If I had like other people to do voices, especially the female voices, it would probably be better for all of you. But I don't know. I hope you all enjoyed my attempts at voice acting. So I'll see you all later. Have a good rest of your night, rest of your day, whatever time it is wherever you are, and take it easy. So bye for now.